Welcome to the Whiskey Explorer. Thanks so much for tuning in for another episode, guys. And if this is your first time to the channel, if you could please do us a quick favor, hit that subscribe button, hit the like button, turn on the notification bell. That way you know when we're coming out with new videos. And tonight, guys, we have got an interesting bourbon to review. We are trying and reviewing Bulleit Bourbon Barrel Proof Batch 5. Alright guys, so you may notice on this Bulleit Bourbon, this uncut limited bottling, as they call it, barrel strength. This one here is at 62.7%, so definitely a very hefty proof to this barrel proof bourbon. And also, we noticed that this is batch number 5. So there's already, multiple other batches out that are higher than that. It's probably even up to batch 10 by now. But this is actually an older bottling, and what I heard, the word on the street was, so you want to try to get batch 5 if you can. This is the one that has the actual cloth sticker, so it actually has a nice kind of texture to it. The other ones are just paper labels. So for whatever reason, this one stands out a bit because it has that kind of cloth sticker on it. I've actually reviewed the regular Bulleit Bourbon, and I'll put a link to that right here for you guys to check out if you want. And this one here, I'm a big fan of barrel proof whiskeys, so I'll have to give this one a try. I am a fan of just the regular Bulleit Bourbon, and the 10-year Bulleit Bourbon is actually even better. So I have yet to review that on the channel, but I will try to get that for sometime down the road. All right, and this is one of those bottles where I kind of have to get to the review of it before it's all gone, and I can't review it anymore. All right, so starting off with the review here, guys, we'll take a look at the color in the glass. Again, bourbon is always going to be uncolored, so we can trust that this color is just what came out of the cask. And this being barrel proof, we know that the only influence here was the new American oak that it was in the cask with. And we don't have an age statement on this, so no age statement. And the other thing that is a bit of a mystery is who's actually making this for Bulleit. So I know that they do have their own stills now, and maybe they're starting to incorporate their own whiskey, but this is actually a sourced whiskey. And if I look at the label here for a hint, what I'm always kind of looking for is if this was distilled in Indiana, then we know it's most likely sourced from MGP. But this one actually says that it is bottled by the Bulleit, it only says bottled by. So bottled by the Bulleit Distilling Co. in Louisville, Kentucky. So we actually don't know where this comes from. The rumor on the street is that they are sourcing their bourbons from Four Roses. So let's get into the nose on this one, guys. Well, first of all, quickly, I kind of stumbled over that part, but the color is a really nice kind of medium to dark amber in the glass there. Definitely a very inviting color. Let's go ahead and jump in on the nose here. On the nose. Cheers. Ooh. Wow. The nose on this is actually really, really good. It's all like confectionery, strawberry, and cherry notes. Sugar, honey, just candy on the nose. Wow, that is just an incredible nose. So I don't know if this is, I haven't revisited this one in quite a while because I did want to save some for the review. So maybe it's just had that opportunity to open up in the glass, but I do not remember the nose of this being this good. This is crazy good. Yeah, just deep, dark cherry notes, stewed fruits, clove, baking spice, lots of cinnamon on the nose, deep, dark cherry note, strawberry candy, vanilla. Wow, what an incredible nose. Let's hope that the nose lives up to the taste on the palate. So on the palate, cheers. Okay, so I gave that one a good long Kentucky chew. Of course, I'm not going to subject you guys to that, but I let it really play around my palate, got it all up in the gums, tongue, back of the palate, everything. Absolutely fully mouth-coating dram. Quite possibly the most mouth-coating dram that I've ever tried. This coats the palate incredibly well. Now here's the catch. If it's coating the palate that well, that the mid palate, the late palate, the finish is all going to be a long one. right? You can almost kind of count on that if you have a really good mouthfeel. The trouble is, are the flavors good and flavors there that you want to linger around? In this case, I'm gonna say no, they aren't. A lot of what you get here is high ethanol note, like the strength's very hot. I know that it is already, like it is 62.7%, so that's kind of cruising around the 125 mark in terms of proof. However, this is very hot. Drinks even hotter than that. If I had to hazard a guess, I would have put this at like 66%, and I have had some whiskeys that are that proof. This drink's super hot, fiery, kind of angry dram. It's got a lot of the grain has not been barreled out in the aging process here. So this comes across, I hate to say it, as very young whiskey. I would hazard to guess you're looking at the kind of the minimum there, 3 to 4 years. Unfortunately, that's kind of, it is what it is. Especially mid-palate, you have this very drying, astringent, almost like a popsicle stick note. So not the nice kind of sweet, sugary oak that we want to have in a well-aged bourbon. This is the young, fiery, astringent oak. You do have a little bit of cherry sweetness that's kind of mid-palate on this, but for the most part, the dominant notes are barrel char, young, kind of spirity grain, definitely a lot of astringency in the alcohol and the grain note. So let's go in and go for another sip and see if it improves at all. So on the palate, guys, second sip. Cheers. Okay, on the second sip, much better. Now that my palate is acclimated a little bit to that shock of the high proof, I am able to parse out better, more distinct and enjoyable flavors. So the first one that came to mind, actually even before the ethanol hit came in, was a really kind of like a very like a cherry syrup, a cherry cough syrup. So medicinal cherry note, a little bit of brown sugar, a hint of caramel, some vanilla. Then it rolls almost right away into astringent oak, very hot again on the palate, Kentucky hug going all the way down. It's a little bit surprising that I'm getting so much of that candied fruity cherry on the nose, but on the palate it actually translates to almost like a very medicinal cough syrupy type cherry. Lots of wood notes, barrel char, black pepper, spicy finish, but an incredibly long finish. And this nose, like I would put this nose right up there with like a Stag Junior. And I know that's kind of saying a lot. Actually, it's called Stag now, but I always will still call it Stag Junior, at least for a few more years. But I mean, it is right up there with that. So fantastic nose. Unfortunately, the palate doesn't follow. So does this get a recommend for me? I think, guys, there's just so much other good bourbon out there that I'm gonna have to give this one a pass. I recommend, if you do want to try it, try before you buy. See if you can borrow a dram or two from a friend or another whiskey lover, or see if you can get a bar pour of this before you commit to buying the full bottle. All right, guys, that'll do it for my review of Bulleit Barrel Strength Bourbon Batch 5. Until next time, may your sales be full, may your drams be fuller. Cheers.